Hello again. I just want to talk about some Alien video games because I've been in love with the Alien series for as long as I can remember. The first time I ever watched it was the second one. Me mother sat me down watching it. I must have been about 5 or 6 years old, something like that. Uh, but from then on, I've always loved the films, especially 1, 2, and 3, not 4. But we'll get to that in a minute. Just some of the video games that I used to play when I was a kid. Was this one. This is the first one I ever played, as far as I can remember. But it wasn't the Sega Mega Drive version, it was the Amiga version, which is pretty much just the same as this one, except there was some sound differences, like the sound quality was a bit better in the Amiga version. But basically in this one you just basically rescue prisoners until the timer runs out, and this game is fucking solid, by the way. Really hard. I think there's only about 6 or 7 stages in the whole thing, but the amount of time you spend trying to memorise the levels and where the prisoners are, it gets fucking intense and really hard in some sections. I can't say I've ever beaten it in my life, but it's one of them things. It's like I almost don't want to beat it, because once I've beaten it, then it's just going to go back on a shelf, and I'll probably play it again at some point. But anyway, that was that one. The next one I did play was the Super Nintendo version, which is far superior to that version I just mentioned before. Instead of just rescuing prisoners, you've got several different types of missions that you can do. You can obviously rescue prisoners, but you can kill alien queen mothers, which just look like big versions of the runner dog alien. You've got to fix fuse boxes. You've got to fix broken oil pipes, I believe it is, and stuff like that. There's just a lot more for you to do in this one. The enemies in the game are like the face huggers are just like bare bones enemies, which just cause damage and they don't really jump onto your face until a lot later in the game. But even then, they don't even plant an alien inside you, they just cause more damage. As the game goes on, the aliens are kind of the same, but they change colour, so it kind of shows that they are like stronger types, like stronger strains or whatever. Again, I have not finished this one. This is probably harder than the Mega Drive version. It just gets ridiculously hard, and I've never really finished it. I do love this version though. It's the best version of the game that's out there, I think. And so lastly, we're going to move on to the Game Boy version, which is absolutely terrible, to be honest. It's at first you don't even know what to do. Like, you're walking around, and when I first started playing it, I had no idea what to do. For years I had no idea what to do, until I ended up looking it up online, and then there was little parts on the floor which were items, but it was never really told to you that that was what you were meant to do, which is fair, because a lot of games back then you were never told what to do, which is a good thing in some ways, I suppose. But this one never got very far at all. Terrible. I just bought it because I love Alien 3 as a movie as well. Alien 3 as a movie is amazing. It got some bad rap when it first came out, but I think it's aged very well, apart from the blue screen effects of the runner alien. But yeah, here we go. This game was the whole reason why I wanted a PS1 to begin with in the first place. I already loved Doom and Duke Nukem to begin with. I absolutely, even to this day, I still adore those games to death. So it was a case of, well, what happens when you mix Aliens with Doom? It was like a childhood. It was a childhood fucking dream. It really, really was. I wouldn't say it controls anywhere near as well as Doom does, but oh, my cat wants loads of attention, bless her. She. This game was just. It was, for me, it was everything that I wanted in a video game. It was the sole reason why I wanted a PS1 to begin with. Around this time when I was a kid, there was a lad called Paul Doyle, you know, an old mate of mine from when I was a kid, a couple of doors down, and amongst a lot of other people as well, had a PS1. I didn't. I still had the Amiga and the Super Nintendo. So all these kids like had copies of this and Resident Evil and stuff like that, and I was so jealous. I was so jealous, and every time I got a chance to even just spend 5 minutes on this game, I was just like, oh my god, this is so good. Oh, the fucking just Aliens, Doom, Aliens, Doom, Aliens, Doom, and it was just, oh, it was just, oh. I mean, I can't say that this has aged very well, because it hasn't. I have finished this one though. I have finished this. I think it was about a year ago. I actually managed to finish it all the way through without cheating. Everybody probably remembers the cheat code. The famous cheat code of this game is I've got pink acid boots on. So that, you know, that was quite funny. But yeah, I absolutely adored this. Like, it was the first person shooter game of, you know, an Alien game that I got to play when I was a kid. I absolutely adored it, loved it, and the first person perspective became the future for pretty much near enough any Alien game that came after it. Now, a couple of years after that, we ended up getting the original Alien vs Predator on PC, which was obviously a step up from Alien Trilogy. I didn't have anywhere near good. In fact, I didn't even have a PC at that point in time. Somebody I used to know called my friend Sam. He had a computer which was able to run it, and he ended up getting a copy of the game. So me and him ended up playing it, and it was amazing. You could play an alien, a predator, or a marine. It was just out of this world. It really was. It was something else. There was another Alien vs Predator before that for the Atari Jaguar, which obviously the Atari Jaguar wasn't very popular. It didn't do very well, and the game itself on the Atari Jaguar was, a lot of people give it a lot of credit, which is fine. I played it on an emulator, but I couldn't get on with it very well. I liked it because, like, I played it years and years after it even came out. I didn't even know it existed until like a good few fucking years ago. But like, I played a little bit of it, and I only played as the Marine because that was the only campaign I was really interested in. The other campaigns, just, I mean, because I thought it was already hard, like playing as the Marine, so playing as the Alien and the Predator was a lot harder, I think. So anyway, getting sidetracked. Original Alien vs Predator was spectacular. It really was. The atmosphere in the game was it was spot on. It was fantastic. All the fucking weapons in the game were what you would see from Aliens. There was a couple of new ones in there. The minigun from Predator was in there, obviously, because, you know, Predator. So another thing as well, you could have obviously your your single campaign missions for each species that you play, but there was also a skirmish, like a skirmish option where you could face off just endless hordes of aliens. You could only play as a marine or a predator though, which was cool, but I kind of wish that you could have played it as an alien as well, and you could just hunt down just like loads of humans or just fucking quite a few predators. But that game was amazing. It was really, really good. Now we got the second one, which to a lot of people is the more superior version. In some ways, I think it is. Obviously, the graphics are updated and blah 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 blah. The first one, the first one I talked about before, was made by Rebellion. This one was made by Monolith, who are fucking just pioneers of, well, to me anyway, of video games, especially horror games, especially. And it was published by Sierra. I went to PC World when I was a kid, and I seen a copy of this. It was like the big box version, which I don't own anymore, unfortunately. God knows what happened to it. It was a very long time ago. But my cousin was working there, and I think he supplied us with the PC at the time that we had. I bought the game. Well, my mum and dad bought me the game. We took it home, and the PC was not good enough to run it, and I was absolutely heartbroken. I absolutely gutted. I really was. Oh, it's just horrible thinking about it now, because I think I owned the game for like a good 2 years, until or at least a year or two, until I actually managed to play it again. But game absolutely fantastic. It had a really, really popular multiplayer as well, which I found ridiculously hard to fucking play. I mean, I don't like to play competitively anyway, because as a competitive player I am shit at pretty much anything. Like at the moment I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege, and I am absolutely terrible at it. There's so much to consider, but yeah, AVP2 absolutely fucking fantastic. I recommend it to anybody who likes the Alien games, or just anybody who likes old school first person shooters in general. It's absolutely brilliant. With that came Primal Hunt, the expansion pack, which to me was a little bit short, but it still had 3 separate extra campaigns. Yeah, you play as a different predator. You play as it's a marine, but you play as a Weyland-Yutani soldier or operative or something like that. I can't remember her name. It's a woman with a Russian accent, but yeah, she was cool. But in this version, playing as the marine, you could actually have dual pistols, which is a bit of a throwback to the first one. So you know, that was great. But when you play as the alien, you play as a pred alien. So like that was something completely new. So you know, I ate that right up. Absolutely loved it. It was a great expansion pack. It really, really is good. It's fucking cheap as chips now as well. So you know, if you've got a copy of AVP2, then pick it up. It's worth paying a couple of quid for. Moving on, I'm gonna talk about the next Alien vs Predator, Alien vs Predator 3. It's not numbered, but it's Alien vs Predator 3. Right, that's just basically what it is. It's made by Rebellion, the same people who made the Atari AVP and the PC version of the original AVP. This was quite anticipated when, you know, a good couple of years ago. I can't remember now what fucking year ago, what year it was. I think it was about 2010. I think it was 2010, something like that. This was okay. I think it it became one of those games where there was so much hype and so much expectation, where when we got the game and we played it, it wasn't as good as we thought it was. And that seems to be becoming a bit of a trend when it comes to games from, you know, Xbox era onwards, which is a shame really, because it had so much potential. I know I'm speaking kind of low of it, but there were a lot of good points to it too. Well, I like to play the Marine campaign myself, but when you play it, you can only pick up 3 weapons at once. It's a pistol and like a rifle or a shotgun. I found that a bit annoying. Well, another thing, that the smart gun, which is one of my favourite weapons in anything ever, you pick it up like twice in the game and that's it. I mean, I suppose they were trying to maybe balance some, you know, overpower, but as I mentioned previously, you can play as all 3 species. Predator played really well, Marine played really well, but I think the Alien campaign was definitely the weakest one, which was quite sad actually, because I found that the Alien campaign in AVP 1 and 2 were just fantastic, very, very fluent. Like if you were, you know, trying to run along walls, or, you know, go up a wall and up on a ceiling, it was, you know, it was fluent. It played very, very well. In this, it just seemed very clunky, and it just didn't handle well at all. And I don't understand how, you know, going back to the earlier games where it worked so well, how did this campaign work out as bad as it did? I'm not a developer, you know what I mean, but I can't understand why the same mechanics couldn't have worked. It might have something to do with the fact that it was on Xbox 360, it was on PS3, and it was on PC as well. But maybe that's the paradox of what gaming is like today, the fact that every game is on every console, where maybe the mechanics and everything that goes into it does not work. It's really fucking, it's shit really, because like I used to look back when obviously we had AVP 2 on PC and AVP 1. They were only on PC. We got crappy ports of an RTS game on PS2 called Alien vs Predator Extinction. I've got a copy of it up there, but I can't be asked to get it down. Which was an RTS game, but I wish we could have just got a shitty port of AVP 2. Like, I wish we could have just got that instead. I'm getting sidetracked again. Anyway, this was really, it was okay. Not great. Well, after this one, we were promised something which would be far more superior and a lot better, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm fucking dreading talking about this one. Colonial Marines. There was early builds of this, which is meant to be on PS2, which there's a little bit of fucking YouTube footage out there, but even then, looking at that, it looks terrible. But back then, you thought if, you know, with a little bit more work, it would have been good. But obviously that got scrapped. There was probably fucking 3 or 4 fucking more versions which came out, well, which were in development, should I say. I think it was somebody, there was a company called Timegate that was working on the original, and it just got fucking like passed along. So eventually Gearbox ended up picking it up, or picking up the license. I think it was, sorry, Sega owned the license. They picked up the rights to develop the game. So when it came to the E3 showing, which literally everybody was fucking watching at the time, we were just glued to our chairs like, it looked absolutely phenomenal. It really did. Like the stuff that they shown was just like jaw dropping. You know, it looked amazing. And then when the game eventually dropped, it was just a watered down crap version. I don't know whether, again, as I said before, the fact that it was going to come out on PC, Xbox 360 and PS3, where they had to water down their ambition a little bit. But even then, the AI in the game was terrible. The aliens were brainless and became predictable. You know, we were promised by Randy Pitchford, who's a fucking asshole, by the way. You know, with all the shit that he promised and the amount of bollocks that he talked. Had a nice amount of weapons involved, which was great, because you got your original Space Marine weaponry, but you also had a couple of Weyland-Yutani weapons as well, which was something new. So you know, that was exciting. That was good. When we did, because I played this, well, when I bought this, we ended up playing it online. I think it was like 3 or 4 of us, and I'll admit, when we played through it, we had fun playing it. We did, but it just seems like we were all in denial of how bad it actually was. Also, another thing which isn't too much of a problem for me in this game, but the fact that a lot of people started to complain that you were fighting a lot of Weyland-Yutani mercenaries and stuff like that, which, pardon me, in an Aliens game you're going to eventually run into Weyland-Yutani soldiers or some sort of resistance. That's just going to happen. They're right that maybe it shouldn't have happened as frequently as it did, but running into Weyland-Yutani soldiers and mercenaries was not a problem for me. It wasn't. It was, you know, it was inevitable. Weyland-Yutani, they're probably even more of the bad guys than the aliens are. It just makes sense that you know, you're going to run into them. Since talking about Gearbox at the moment, I'm sure that a lot of you are probably aware of this anyway, but they also ended up making Duke Nukem Forever, which was just like this. Had a terrible development cycle, and they picked it up and fucking made it, and to a lot of people it was a disappointment. I didn't think it was as bad as people made out, but it just became another example of a classic game which a hell of a lot of people were anticipating, and they saw money in it and just thought, right, we're going to take this, we're going to make a half-assed version and just put it out there and just wait for the fucking money to flow in, because that's exactly what happened. There was, for this and Duke Nukem Forever, there was collector's editions. I've got both of them. So I suppose I'm the sucker for fucking I mean, I paid full price for the collector's edition of this. I think it was about 70 quid at the time. There was other editions as well, where there was, I think in this it was the limited edition version, you got Ripley's flamethrower pulse rifle combo thing, which was like basically where an alien, she fucking basically tapes 2 fucking guns together. So that was a nice touch, I'll give them that. But later on there was another one where you got a double barreled sawn off shotgun, which I thought was a bit lame. Multiplayer in this was fucking awful. again, going back to the alien controls, it was just, well, first of all, the alien was third person. Why? Why the fuck why did you do that? Probably they didn't have anyone to, in fact I think it was actually Gearbox who actually developed, it was Gearbox who developed the multiplayer portion of the game, and they failed tragically. They really did. It was fucking horrible, terrible. So in the end, we got screwed over again. It's just one of them, innit? You know, I remember me and my best mate Barry just fucking talking about this for like fucking months. Like, it's gonna be good, innit? It's gonna be good, and it just wasn't. He likes it a lot, so you know, fair enough, fair play to him if he likes it that much. But I've popped this in my Xbox again a couple of times, well, a fair few couple of times, but playing it on your own, I think it's more of a fun game when you play with somebody. But even then, when you've done it once, you know what to expect, and you know where everything's going to come from. As I said before, the aliens are fucking, they end up becoming predictable. Well, we were promised that it was going to be sort of like, you never knew where the aliens were going to come from, like whether it be from under the floor or above you or from an air duct that could be a couple of feet down from you. You know, all that was promised, and we got none of it. It's just like, the all choreographed to like land. Like say there was like one or two, like two up there and another two up there. They would all land in the same spot. So you would literally just aim your pulse rifle in that direction and just pull the trigger when you felt like it. Now, I'm sure you already know what this is going to be, but the holy fucking grail of alien video games in this day and age. This is the holy grail. This is like the best alien game that has ever come out for like fucking God knows how many years. You play as Ripley's daughter, which, if you remember the second film, Ripley, well, the special edition version of the second film, Ripley is told that her daughter has died of old age. And in this one you play as her daughter, and she's basically looking for her mother. So automatically, that kind of story-wise, that makes it quite personal. Like it's a personal journey to find your mother, kind of thing. And after Colonial Marines, there was a lot of anticipation for this, especially when, you know, footage was revealed. It was going back to the roots. Firstly, it's more like the original Alien film, which is more of a fucking horror movie than, you know, an action sci-fi movie like the second one is. I'm really glad that they actually decided to go down this route, because it's very stealthy. You've got to have your wits about you. You've got to hide. You can craft, you know, homemade weapons and stuff like that. Would it be smoke? I think it's a smoke bomb. No, it's not a smoke bomb. There's like a Molotov cocktail. There's like a flashbang, and there's all sorts of little things that you can make, which can either distract your enemies, whether they be human or alien, because there's only one alien in this to begin with. Spoilers. The atmosphere and suspense in this film is where it excels. It's stellar. It is that good. made by Creative Assembly, who made the Total Rome games, which is quite different. But as I said before about in Colonial Marines, that the aliens become very predictable, where they're going to be, where they're going to come from, stuff like that. This actually took that idea. Must have thought from Colonial Marines, like, they were promised this, so we're going to keep that promise, and they did. The AI of the alien can be a bit iffy at times, and sometimes it can see you but not see you. But the alien in this will come from several different places on the map where you are. You got to be quiet all the time. Like, that is key to the survival in this game. It really is, and it's genuinely frightening. It, like, I in games I don't really scare that easy, but in this, like, you just anxiety. Fucking, you know, you don't know where it's gonna turn up. You'll just hear like clunk clunk clunk, and it's a couple of fucking feet away from you. And you only have to fuck up once for it to be game over. And when you do play this, you will die a lot. You will. But I think that's part and parcel of the game. You have to die a lot to learn and adapt, to get through it and complete it. And it's a very, very long game, I found. I have only completed this once. I did do a second playthrough. I think I got about halfway through, and I think I went on to something else, because obviously I've done it before. But I am planning to play this again very fucking soon, because it's amazing. And now I do need to talk about something right now, which, if you haven't played the game, it's probably going to spoil it. So just forward the video, or just stop watching. You've probably stopped watching anyway, because I'm boring the shit out of you. But anyway, in a small segment, flashback segment of the game, you go to the original derelict ship on the first Alien film. But before you even get on the ship, you have to walk through you have to make your way to the ship on LV-426, and just the way the game is made is just so amazing. It is just absolutely, like, you're playing the game when you walk into the derelict ship in LV-426, and you're just looking around, and like, it's foggy and stuff because it's quite smoky in the film anyway. You start to make your way through, and you just see the derelict ship, and it's just like, you're just in awe of just what you're looking at. So you get into the derelict ship, and the space jockey's there. It's just an amazing scene in the film and in this. Although they've definitely made the space jockey chamber a hell of a lot bigger. I don't know why they did that. Maybe in a way, I think they could have done without doing that, because it just made it like travelling from one end of the chamber to the other just take longer. I think they just tried to make it look more vast than it actually was, which is fair enough. But the character that you're playing as in this flashback, you learn that somebody's been there before you, and I wonder who that could be. It's the crew of the Nostromo, isn't it? So that's fucking awesome. You find the hole where Kane, John Hurt's character, ended up going down into the egg chamber. Slightly predictably, the same thing sort of happens. Like, your character goes down, one of them gets face hugged, one of them goes down and goes, "Ooh, what's this?" You know, being a fucking idiot. Like, why would you bother? So that's basically how the alien gets back onto the ship of the crew in the flashback, and it ends up on the Sevastopol. Sorry, I've just explained the whole fucking thing to you, but as I said before, spoilers. This is just amazing. It's just fantastic. You do get some guns in the game which are completely ineffective to the alien itself. You get a revolver. I think it's like a 6-shot revolver. It looks like a fucking 45 Smith and Wesson or something like that. You get a shotgun, which again is completely ineffective, which is just slightly unreal. You would have thought it would at least make the alien a bit like ow, but no, it doesn't do that. But you eventually get the flamethrower, like the classic flamethrower from the original Alien, which doesn't kill the alien, but it deters it, where it'll either run away and, you know, it'll go somewhere else. You know, it will give you a couple of seconds to get wherever you need to go, and that's what, you know. Although I must admit, when I did get the flamethrower, I felt like the fear factor had disappeared slightly, because as much as the flamethrower ammo or the flamethrower fuel was not quite in abundance as you would expect, it's kind of enough for you to get through the sections that you need to get through. I suppose if you're in a rush and you're not, you know, snooping around looking for items, which you will be in the game, if you come across fuel for the flamethrower, which isn't very often, I found anyway, it just kind of made it a bit less scary for me. But that's just a minor gripe. Overall, this, compared to AVP 1 and 2, from then onwards, is the best one. If you love Alien, if you love Aliens, if you love the series in general, you owe it to yourself to play this. It is so good. Just do yourself a favour and play it. Now, I did mean to mention Alien Resurrection before, but I've already done a video on that, so I wasn't going to mention it. So this has been quite a long one, actually. I didn't think it'd go on for as long as it actually has. I've probably talked utter bollocks, and I probably haven't been as informative as I should have been. But I've tried to keep this video as small as I possibly could. So, you know, leave a comment if you love the Alien films, if you love the games that I've talked about. You know, just say something, just say hello. You know what I mean? Anyway, take it easy, guys. I hope you have a good one. Take care now.